Y'all, can I just rant for a minute? I am so tired of these conversations. So there are a lot of important topics going around, and while I feel like we've reached the next best level where we're actually having these conversations and debates are starting to occur, I think we can still do better. I'm not here to add to the debate. I actually want to talk about a solution to having a problem with the problem. So regardless of what political party you voted for, whether or not you feel like you're the right gender in your own body or somebody else does, or whether or not we should own or not own guns, pro-life, pro-choice, I just want to impose a possible solution that can make us all feel better. And this is because I see a larger problem starting to happen. All these issues, all these differences, they're really important to address. I think it's really important for us to discuss them. But the larger issue is that we are starting to become a society that has zero tolerances for differences. And we start to see each other as opposing opponents rather than actual humans and the individuals that we each individually are. It is so easy to get sucked into these conversations, spending so much time analyzing, debating, resisting, trying to be right, and imposing our certain perspectives or judging other people, and it simply isn't healthy. It is absolutely draining on our energy. It creates all this negative energy. It creates segregation. It creates distraction. It keeps us from focusing on what's truly important. And at the end of the day, nobody can really honestly say they know whether they're right or what the outcome or results are going to be if their ideals played out over the long term. We're all simply here trying to do the best that we can, trying to live our best lives. And I believe for the most part, most of us are trying to do that without really trying to negatively affect or harm one another. So why is it as a society, as individuals, as different people, cultures, relations, sex, creed, religions, why are we having such arguments over topics that are obviously what make us human? We are all different in our own right. We all have different preferences, different goals, different ideas of how we wish to live life and express ourselves and who we are and what we become. Why is there any argument over this? You have the liberty to be your own person, be the individual person that you are, and so does somebody else. As a whole, I think most of us just really want to try to get along or allow ourselves to live the way that we want to live without necessarily imposing any conflict or inconvenience to how somebody else necessarily wants themselves to be. So like, why create all this heat and drama over your judgment or your comfort, discomfort with how somebody else chooses to live or believe? It drives me absolutely bonkers because 90% of it is completely asinine, irrelevant, and totally ineffective. So now that I've vented that, thank you so much for listening. If you are still here, I want to talk to you about 3 ways you can avoid this energy wormhole, this drain, like this life-sucking energy vampire. Here's how to get out. Number 1, be open to understanding both sides. The more that I listen, the more that I empathize, the more that I learn, the more that I realize I do not know. Aside from extremists, each side typically has very valid points, and you can see how both sides are just trying to do right by themselves or by what they believe. And oftentimes you can see where the conflict exists and why it can be so difficult to decide what you feel is right or wrong, and why you can have differing or opposing topics. But also often what I see is that people are talking right past each other. One person is talking about what they want to do, feel, and express, while another person wants to debate what is factual or scientific, and really the two topics don't go hand in hand. I'm not going to specify, but if you really pay attention and listen close, you can see how both parties aren't really hearing each other when both parties can completely validate each other and still coexist with tolerance, agreement, and peace. Number 2, be true to you. I'm not saying you should go against your values and goals. You should hold firm to that and live by that, but also understand that other people are trying to do the same. And we are only human. We have differing perspectives, experiences, goals, priorities, and beliefs. If it is your right to live and experience those perspectives, it is anybody else's right to live and experience theirs, whether it aligns with yours or not. There's a difference between enabling something that is extremely wrong and harmful to other people, harmful to the planet, harmful to the existence of humanity. But for most of these topics, they're simply just an argument of preferences. Who's right, who's wrong? Judgment towards one another, alienation and segregation, just fighting to be right. And I'm absolutely sick of it. Number 3, find love. At the end of the day, we are all people. We are somebody's parent, spouse, child, friend, lover, student, teacher. For most of us, that's all we really want, is to be able to live our life as openly and as beautifully as we possibly can. I truly believe that a lot of us want what's best for our society and for our children and for the future of our people, but instead of fighting about whether or not something should be allowed or not allowed, let's focus on the actual problem and creating solutions together. Oftentimes when we're looking for solutions, it runs into another problem. Like a solution may solve a particular problem, but it might run into other problems for certain types of people. And this is something that you have to be able to talk about. And in any kind of relationship, whether it's a grand scale one of multiple peoples and personalities or singular, you have to be able to talk with understanding to one another and say, hey, let's map out our goals, because for the most part, it seems like we have a lot of overlapping things that are on the same page, but it sounds like we might not agree to what those solutions are. This is the only way I can really see us coming together and creating solutions for all these problems that exist and all of these very important conversations that need to happen. Fighting for our perspectives to be heard and validated without openly listening to the other side and being open to understanding with empathy only creates more of a problem. Rather than solving the initial problem itself, we're having a problem with the problem, which creates more problems, and the actual root problem gets buried. And then we are just in this crazy mess of who the hell knows what that is completely unnecessary over things that are shallow, misread, misunderstood, and just fake. Like, it's a fake argument. This is one of the reasons I love observing people, whether it's on a movie or trash reality shows. It's very interesting to see how different psychologies can completely miss one another and be ineffective because we are so hung on fear. When you're so afraid that your identity is challenged, that your beliefs are challenged, that your existence is challenged, that your purpose is challenged, it's very easy to come up in arms and get defensive. I understand that. I've done it. It's only human. But if you really truly care about these bigger problems that exist through our coexistence in the world, then we would take the time to really focus on what the true goal is and eliminate all the garbage, cut out the rest of the noise. I challenge you and any other leaders here on this platform and in the online space to lead with love. Again, I think it's really important to talk about our differences, bring up hard topics, and think about solutions and ways that we together can get around them. But I think it's really important that this is done consciously with intention of love, openness, understanding, and support, regardless if we agree or not. I know in my own personal life, this is the only way I've been able to build relationships, build trust and communion with people like my partner, my children, and my friends. Without that, there is no solution. There is only separation. There's only judgment and entitlement and this feeling and need to be validated, to be heard without really opening up and understanding and hearing the other side as well. So anyways, that's my soapbox. That's the end of my rant. Hopefully you take it for what it is and what the intention of my message is. I would love to open this conversation and talk a little bit more because I just see us as a society getting so sucked in, energetically drained, creating so much stress, and really compromising the health of ourselves as individual beings, but also the health of our coexistence as a society. And it's really sad for me to see because I really feel like we're on the precipice of people that are wanting change, urging change on so many fronts, and we need to stand behind each other and do this together. So thank you so much for letting me share what's on my heart and having this conversation with me. I think we can do a lot of great things together, and that is my hope for sharing this here. So love and light to you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for being positive lights. Let's just go out there and spread that energy, and hopefully we can solve some amazing problems together. Ciao for now. Hey fam bam, thanks for joining me in today's episode. If you haven't yet, get registered for my free webinar training, Better Energy for a Better Life. You guys voted on this training. I worked really hard to put together some really valuable tips and insight on the fastest way to grow your energy on time, things that you could get started doing right now. So make sure you check out that link and get signed up. Can't wait to see you there.